Hello. Hi. This is Dr. Ayleen with Medicine Walk. And for those of you who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, this is Healing House Radio. So give me just a second because, as always, I'm trying to do like several different things at one time. So I'm setting this on speaker because my Bluetooth did not work well. So we are going to, again, simultaneously broadcast on both. I'm still working on the technology for this, and this has been a really interesting week, and in fact, an interesting day regarding technology for me. And we're going to go into that. So, but I just need to get this up and running so I can log into the episode. So I'm just going to ask your indulgence for just a minute while I'm looking over here at this computer. So anyway, hi. So we are experiencing what can only be deemed as a tremendously unseasonable type of weather pattern in California, and especially in the Silicon Valley. Now, normally we have hot days and a few very hot days, and then we have like those, a couple of days where it's like, are we like 5 feet from the sun or what? But overall in this area, we are really spoiled. We have very good weather. We have moderate temperatures. And I still try to do this. We have moderate temperatures, and it is normally, pretty mild. But we have been having excessive heat warnings. It has just been brutal outside. And so, yes, we're not used to this, and we whine. Other parts of the country, and in fact, other parts of the world where you're saying, really? Really? Is that what you're complaining about? Please understand that we are really not used to having to deal with this sort of thing. So, yeah, you would think that I would be able to have this all down. Okay, hold on. So I have been having, this week has been a major issue with technology. And not just, any technology, there we go, but the technology for my phone and for, getting things, doing YouTube and doing some of the other stuff that I do. And after a while, you just realize, you know what? Getting upset with this is not going to help the situation. And I really like being able to just touch things and have them work and do what I want. And there are days when it just does not work that way. So this morning I got up, last night I plugged my phone in, and I don't like to leave the phone on overnight. A lot of people say it's absolutely fine, but I have a thing about it. So I was unplugging the phone, and the end of the charger was hot. And there we go. The end of the charger was really hot. And so I, just left it off, and I plugged the whole thing and set it aside. And this morning my phone would not recharge. It would not even acknowledge that a charger was put into it. So, off to the phone store I go, and, very, very nice people. So I'm having a new phone delivered tomorrow. So if there are any of you in the Bay Area and you have tried to reach me and you haven't been able to reach me, that's why my phone decided to do something weird. Now, it is currently limping along and barely holding a charge. So I've got it, that's why I've got it plugged in, and that's why I'm, holding it while I talk. So So it was just aggravating and it was irritating. And just like the weather that we have here, which is unusually hot, getting upset about it, getting all, it's like, well, it shouldn't be this way. And, because we were talking last week about your best being good enough and that we can't get wrapped up in, what isn't working and try to focus on what is. The fact that I'm having a brand new phone sent to me so I don't have to worry about, whether or not this one will recharge when I need it. That's a good thing. And it's a wonderful thing. And it's an amazing thing that I can have one like. And when I first started thinking about the topic for today, thinking cool thoughts, I remembered that when I was young, my mom, if we were staying somewhere, we were military, so we moved around a lot. And so, we'd end up in places like Oklahoma during the summer. And she would just say, well, think cool thoughts, which at the time I thought was very silly. And yet it would help if I thought about things like, and if I thought about, times when I was really, really chilly and going into the ocean or getting into the swimming pool when it was really chilly at first. The reason it helped that I didn't understand then that I understand now is because it took me out of the mindset that I was in. It stopped me from obsessing on what it is that was aggravating me and got me moving into a different thought pattern. And it's amazing how moving into a different thought pattern can shift us out of the space we're in and get us moved over into a space where maybe we can be more productive, maybe we can feel more productive. And one of the things that is really important in that is that it has to be something that, you can't go like, well, I feel bad about this, so I'm going to choose something I can feel worse about. Which that's not where you want to go. You don't want to go into a direction of, oh, well, now I've got this whole worst thing that I'm dealing with, and it is. So I wanted to really encourage everybody to think about what it is that works. Think about what it is that can be a positive thing in your life that you can focus on. And yes, I need to put my glasses back on so I can check this, because sometimes it just does something strange. And we are going to just hold on. And, also when the weather is warm, computers do very odd things. The air conditioning in the office was out for a while, and it was just so there. All right. So the idea that I'm trying to get across between technological glitches and things like that is that we need to be able to find a way to balance out. When I say think cool thoughts, you can either think of something that is pleasant for you. Think of something that, well, no matter how bad life is, there's still this. There's still that thing that I can feel good about. And sometimes that can be hard. And sometimes it can be challenging to think of something that is actually going to help you feel better. But there is something. I'm fairly certain that everybody has at least one thing that they can count on, one thing that they can take heart in, and one thing that will be able to let them feel better. Can you think of? Well, it could be that while there's a lot of very hard things going on, and under no circumstances do I want to minimize some of the hard stuff that's going on. And when you watch the news, I mean, it's almost enough to break your heart. And in some cases, it does break your heart. There are some things going on out there that, I mean, I do my best not to get political, because I want everyone to feel safe in this community here. It really doesn't matter to me how you feel about political issues, what you embrace. I'm sure that deep down you're a really, really good person. And while we can debate back and forth what's the best way to handle certain things, we all want to be safe. We all want to be happy. We all want to be able to do the things that we'd like to do. And that, we have a world where our families can, have fun and our kids can frolic and we can just really be in that good space. And it's really, really hard to achieve that sometimes the way the world is. And for whatever reason that the world is the way it is, that's kind of just how it's got to be for a while. And it doesn't mean that we can't try to find whatever it is we can to create an eye of the storm for ourselves, to create an environment where we don't feel afraid, to create an opportunity for everybody to feel like they can grow and be nurtured and do whatever it is that they would like to do. So think of your cooler thoughts. If somebody comes up and says something to you that's very, very provocative, very, very, well, maybe it's just meant to stir something up. Maybe it's just meant to get a reaction, because there's a lot of people out there who enjoy getting a reaction. The idea that they are, hey, I got this person to change their mind, or I got this person to lose their temper. Yeah, I mean, congratulations, you got me to lose my temper. And I don't like giving people that satisfaction, especially when I know they're doing it on purpose. And I think we all know some folks who just like to kind of stir stuff up. They feel that it will get a reaction. And, well, a reaction, something that I would rather choose action than I would like to choose reaction, because reaction just takes me somewhere where I don't necessarily want to be. Reaction takes me to a place where I am maybe not being able to choose from my heart, or not being able to choose from my place of spirit. It's really hard to kind of, get that reined back in once, it's like, the old saying, it's kind of tough to put the genie back in the bottle. And, oh, we have someone in chat, Jacqueline. Well, hello, Jacqueline. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm glad you've joined us. Yeah, it really is, it can be hard, because like I said, there's some really, really, really hard stuff happening in the world. There's some really, really painful stuff happening. There are things that are happening. If they're not happening to people we know, they're happening, just out there, in a way that it really comes and really rests at our doorstep. And it can be overwhelming. Honestly, the world and life can be so overwhelming sometimes, because we don't always have the tools to be able to make choice in a moment. So you're very welcome, Jacqueline. So the whole point of why I do what I do and the sharing that I do, when I think about the world, and I really think that humanity is so amazing. People have such an amazing capacity to be kind, and to be generous, and to be compassionate, and to embrace what it is that is the best of our species. And I also think that we have shadow, and there's light and shadow in everything. It comes down to choice. Can we choose to react from our place of heart? Can we choose to react from our place of a sense of community? Can we choose to say, you know what? I am going to believe in the best of my world, and I am going to walk my walk from that viewpoint. And I do not give anyone permission to take my peace of mind away from me. No one has that right. No one has the, well, really the right to take away your feeling safe. And if someone has taken that away from you, I am really sorry. I mean, from my heart, I'm really sorry. And I know you're working to get back that sense of trust. Don't give up. Because no matter how much shadow is in the world, honestly, there is more light. There are more people out there doing good things and compassionate things and supportive things and helpful things. Because I know that, because I know each and every one of you has that within them. And you do that every single day. And it may not seem like a big deal to you. It may not seem like it matters. And oh my gosh, nothing breaks my heart more than to hear someone say, you know what? What does it matter? What good does it do to try to stay, stay as positive as I can be, to do what little good in the world that I can do? What does it matter in the face of everything else? Honest, it matters. It matters more than you could possibly know. Every kind act, every kind word, every time we think cooling thoughts that allow us to lower, that boiling point, or actually to raise the boiling point, but that's physics. Anyway, to prevent us from boiling over. It is always an option to choose to come from your heart. It is always an option to say, I will not go along with what I hear out in the world about negativity, about people not caring, about classifying groups and generalizing people. There, in my opinion, there's no such thing as always and never when it comes to people and groups. No group always feels a particular way because everybody's an individual. If you want to really get into a good fight with someone, especially someone you're in relationship with, throw out, well, you always do this or you never do that. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that that's possible, because each one of us, we've got our own story. We've got our own lives. We've got our own life experiences, and we have, however, our connection to the universe guides us. It doesn't really matter what you believe, but I do believe that everybody believes in something. It is that guides you, whatever it is that helps you in that moment when you feel overwhelmed, that's what is the cooling thought. The cooling thought is connecting to what's bigger. The cooling thought is saying, you know what, today may totally suck, but there's always tomorrow. I may feel helpless now, but I don't always feel helpless. And when I really feel helpless, there are people I can tap on. There's people that I can call in, and there's people that I can reach out to who will say, hey, I know, I hear you. It's tough right now, and we can do this. Together, we can do this. Yes, Jacqueline says she agrees, and she also believes there's more good than bad in humanity. Unfortunately, that idea is considered to be naive. Oh my gosh, Jacqueline. Yes, I cannot tell you how many times I've been called naive. Even since I started doing this program, and before I did the YouTube channel, I did Blog Talk Radio, which is why I'm also simultaneously on the air with that. But I've had a lot of people tell me, you know, it really isn't good for you to say the things you're saying. And I'd say, well, why? Well, because you're giving people an unrealistic view of the world. And I was actually told that I was giving people an unrealistic view of the world. Pray tell, how? You know, I was very curious, because people are not fundamentally that good, that there are bad, evil people in the world, and that they're associated with certain ideologies or certain religions or certain political viewpoints, and that there will never be an agreement. And I thought, wow, what a tiny and scary world you live in. And it's not true. I believe pose that there is no truth in that statement. I mean, yes, there are people who are damaged. There are people who have clinical, physiological stuff going on. And there are people who just see the world differently. Because someone sees the world differently than I do doesn't mean they're wrong. It means that what they say and what they believe does not resonate with me. It may resonate perfectly well with them and with, you know, their groups, which is cool, and that's fine. My mom used to say, if you love it, I love it for you. But part of that cooling down process, part of those cooling thoughts, is the thought that it's going to get better, is the thought that today may be lousy, but if I'm writing the book of my life, it may be that right after all of this stuff that's really unpleasant, the next chapter I start with, and it was the next day that everything changed. I believe that. I believe it for each and every one of you. Even if you're going through a really hard time and you're going through those struggles, that you can hang in there. You are strong enough, not only to deal with what you're going through, but you are strong enough to create change. You are strong enough that if someone needs a door held for them, if you go through the door and somebody's coming through, that you can hold the door for them and they'll smile and say thank you. I believe that telling a total stranger to have a great day, or telling them that the color they're wearing looks really good, or if somebody serves you, to really thank them and look them in the eye and say thank you so much. I can see you're working hard, and I can see that, you know, you're really busy, but thank you so much for the service that you're giving me. Those things can change the world in teeny tiny little increments, but it can change the world. I don't think that's naive. Frankly, I think it's naive to believe that just because somebody follows a certain philosophy, that everyone is like that. I don't believe that just because someone reacts with anger or violence, that they're necessarily an angry or violent person. In that moment, that may be their reaction, but maybe they've had a really, really, really bad day. I believe that we are all capable of change and growth no matter what. There's a statement that we are all divine beings having a human experience. And I believe that we're just having a human experience. It doesn't matter how much gets put on the news. It doesn't matter how much is said in you know, political comments and conversations and on Facebook, and what's tweeted and what isn't, and all of that. To me, it really doesn't matter. What matters is what's in your heart. What matters is realizing that as a species, we've gone through a lot. And as a nation, we've gone through a lot. And some of it's been good and some of it's been not so good. But we still manage to make it through and learn something. And Andrew, hey Andrew, good to see you. Thanks for the great talk at CCL on Sunday about fathers. I was very moved and didn't get to tell you. Well, thank you. For those of you that don't know, I'm a reverend through the Universal Church of the Masters, and I'm the associate pastor of a wonderful little place called the Center for Creative Living. And I do some of the services, and so I did the Father's Day service, and Andrew was there. So you are very welcome, Andrew. I'm so glad that you could be there. See, this is the thing I love. It's like with the live chat and being able to talk, and it's like, oh, Jacqueline, Andrew, Jacqueline. So, talk amongst yourselves. So it's just so cool to be able to look at life from a viewpoint that there's an infinite possibility for everything that you ever wanted to be able to become a part of your life. Is it going to take some work? Heck yeah. It's, it's not like, oh, well, I'm going to just focus on what I want and it's going to happen. No, the only place where success comes before work is the dictionary. And yeah, we got a lot of work ahead of us. For the people who believe that it is not naive to trust in the best in people, to believe that we will get through this like we've gotten through so much else. There's been some pretty bad stuff that has come up in society, that's come up in the world. And we made it through all of it so far. You personally have survived 100% of anything that has ever come against you. 100%. That's a pretty darn good score. And we can do that together. We can help each other. We can remind each other that it's okay to be naive. Because frankly, I don't think we're the naive ones. When you limit your view of possibility, I think that's kind of naive a little bit. I think that there's a much bigger picture. And for those of us who can see it, I guess it's kind of our job and our agreement to maybe help others out to see it by our actions, by our words, by our smiles, by our compassion. And I know that's what you guys are already doing. You're already taking that on. You're already sharing. You're already making a difference, even if it's to just one person. It's amazing how we can change the world when we change the world for one person. And when we think about that, it kind of takes the edge off the heat. Those are the cooler thoughts. There's a story about two people walking along a beach, and there's a whole bunch of starfish, and they're like baking on the beach. And one of the people bends over and he picks up a starfish and he tosses it back into the ocean. Picks up another one. And the person with him says, "Why are you bothering? You can't save them all. What does it matter what you're doing?" And the first one picked up another starfish and tosses it back into the ocean. He says it mattered to that one. You matter to at least one person, and probably way more than you even realize. If we can keep our cool, if we can think cool thoughts when the temperature is rising and everything is threatening to boil over, we can still allow our cool thoughts to help somebody else, to diffuse a situation, to turn the heat down just a little bit. There's going to be heat, but we don't have to boil over. We don't have to allow ourselves to boil over. If you want to boil over, make it a choice. And sometimes, boiling over something may be appropriate. But what is it that you want to get out of it? And as Jacqueline is mentioning, simple acts of kindness, politeness, and respect came naturally and a given when I was growing up. I think a lot of us grew up with courtesies that maybe aren't the same as they used to be. I mean, it used to be, you know, opening doors for people and standing up when a lady enters the room for the gentleman, and calling people, you know, Mr. by their first name or Miss by their first name. We haven't lost it. It's still here. Compassion is still here. Respect is still here. We just have to kick up the volume on it a little bit more, and we can do this. We can achieve this. And I wouldn't say it if I didn't honestly, in my heart, believe it. So when somebody turns up the heat, think cooler thoughts. Think calmer thoughts. Think of the big picture. Think of what's going to be, what the world can be. And I think it'll cool you down a little bit. And as you cool down, others will too. So think cooler thoughts, hydrate, especially, you know, right now, for those of you who are in this interesting weather pattern, or if you're anywhere else that there's a lot of heat, hydrate, drinking water, because that also kind of calms your body down too. But let yourself believe that the cooler times will come, because before we know it, winter will be here. And then everybody's going to be wondering, oh my goodness, it's chilly. So allow yourself to think cooler thoughts. Allow yourself to realize that what is happening now, the current situation, is only for now. And you can go out and have some fun and get in the sunshine and knock yourself out. So thank you for joining me, and I will be back next week. And oh my gosh, thank you. I think you're awesome too, Jacqueline. You know, it's yes, etiquette classes. Remember when, you know, there were etiquette classes once. Maybe we need to start one. Jacqueline, maybe you can start up some etiquette classes. Start up, if you don't have a YouTube channel, start one up, and you can get going with your etiquette classes, because I'm sure it'll be a hit. So thank you for joining me. And if you would like to comment, you can comment in the sections here on YouTube. You can go to my Facebook page, Medicine Walk with Dr. Ayleen. You can go to my office website, www.the-healing-house.com. You can reach me on Twitter, and there's all kinds of ways to reach me. So thank you for joining me. And as always, I wish you balance, and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Bye-bye. See you next week. For those of you who are here on YouTube and Blog Talk Radio. Take care.